Alright, first tweet. Wait, the going rate to appear on Piers Morgan's show is 120. What? 120 pounds? Why will anyone waste their time for so little? Merseyside Alliance for Racial Equality Chanel Lunt and Jamie Clenger, founder of Reclaim This Street, Talk TV offered Patsy Stevenson 120 pounds plus a car to and from the show's Ealing studio. Then when she was non-committal, they upped the offer 250 pounds. On the phone, the agent allegedly asked if she felt that lessons in school against toxic masculinity were wrong and that, quote, the Me Too movement has gone too far in labeling young males as sexual predators, end quote. Patsy was also told by the guest booker that he had been told to request Patsy Stevenson, quote, has to go at Piers for his Andrew Tate interview last year. In other words, deliberately creating a role on air. What in the name? But the main thing that the squad got out of this is the amount that they're offering.
True, because remember, I know that was set up pack shots, but remember he was filmed, the dad, getting measured for the suit, reading up about England. So if he wasn't invited, that doesn't even make sense. And I know the paps set him up with that, but that was on the pretense that he was going to the wedding. So what she's saying doesn't add up.
Well, why don't we get her on next week? And for another interview.
I don't think we need to
We are not paying her $200 for an interview.
I don't think we need to
We are not paying her $200 for an interview.
If some of you have been listening to me from the, since PYTE, which I'll be going back at some point, I'm laughing because there's something I said on my community board that I ran out of PYTE. I went to check how that channel's doing, and then I saw a note and I ran back out. It scared the hell out of me. But that's what I was thinking as I make that little smirk. But the thing is that some of the thing I've been saying before, once I started looking into Harry and Meghan, how the UK system work and all of that, one of the things that I've said, which I typed here 52 minutes ago when I came across this tweet, I've always said that a lot of Brits, not all, most of them do a lot of damages for very little. The same can probably be said about some Americans too. Most Americans will probably do some bargain beforehand. Okay, American, like, let's see, let me not name names, okay? We already know what I'm thinking about. But yes, in the UK, I've realized that a lot of them do a lot of damages. Well, it's not a small little damage, huge amount of damage. And for very little. Okay? For their 5 minutes of fame, I wonder how much Sasha got before. I'm sure she ain't getting 120 pounds. I could be wrong though, because Piers Morgan seems desperate for someone to appear on his flap show. Okay, he probably gave her more to hear the detail of that inglorious event. It's a shame. It's a shame. I have some tweet regarding her on this video. I won't be surprised if he did. Okay, regrettable. So there's so much poverty in the UK these days.
Look at the fact that just on energy alone, on a conservative estimate within 1 year, we're talking £1,300 a year going up in bills. We're going to have about 10 million people in fuel poverty. We have a real absolute, not relative poverty issue going to come in the UK, with food banks oversubscribed, with debt crisis agencies do not have any tools. And I need to say, with the Chancellor coming on in a moment, if you forgive me, as the money-saving expert who's been known for this, I am virtually out of tools to help people now.
You desired squirrel!
There's so much poverty in the UK these days.
I'm a dinner lady in Lancashire, and just before the summer holidays, when the cost of living crisis really started kicking off, I've just noticed I spend as much time taking food away from children as I do serving it. And to be honest, it's not what I took the job for. You know, I never dreamt that I'd be having to tell children, you can't have that, you've no money on your account. And it used to be, you know, when I first started a year ago, okay, once a month, there might, you know, parents forget to put money on at the beginning of the month, and you get that. But now you're talking 10 to 15 children a shift every day, every single day. And I'm saying, you can't have that, there's no money, you know. And it's breaking my heart. You know, you see them, they're in a queue full of all their peers and other school children, and it's humiliating for them. It's so humiliating. They just look at you like, well, what am I going to eat? And it's like, I can't give you anything. I'm sorry, you know. And I'm just dreading going back to work. I'm dreading October. And to be honest, it's getting to the point where I'm just like, I don't even think I can do this job anymore. I didn't take the job on to starve children. I'm sorry, it's just, you know, it's just something has to give, and I just don't think it should be children's spirits. You know, I'm sorry, I just...
I'm so that I may talk, squirrel!
There's so much poverty in the UK these days.
Last night, my wife spent an hour trying to glue my daughter's school shoes back together because we can't afford to buy her a new pair. I mean, I'm 65, I've worked all my life, and we can't afford £20 for a pair of shoes. There's something wrong with society.
So with the gas, electric and my mortgage, that's 75% of my wages gone, without anything else, without any, you know, council tax, water rates, car insurance, petrol, food, any of that. 75% of my wages gone.
I can't remember the last time I went to a pub, because I can't pay, you know, £5 for a pint. It's beyond my means. So the local pub's now closed. Not entirely due to me not going there, but that's closed.
Do you find it hard?
Yes.
And so are you optimistic at all about the future?
Optimism. It's not a word I use a lot these days. I'm not familiar with the term.
So that I may talk, squirrel!
There's so much poverty in the UK these days that...
There is a cookbook, but it's also the story of a West London community who gathered together in a kitchen and discovered the healing power of sharing food.
Cooking for me is everything. I love to see people gathering on one table.
I love to cook. I love to feed people.
In January 2018, as I was settling into my new home of London, I met a group of women whose community had been affected by the Grenfell fire.
There's so much poverty in the UK these days.
They had decided to get together to cook fresh food for their families and their neighbours.
After the fire, it was somewhere where they could make food to take back to their hotel room where we don't have facilities to cook. It was sort of comforting to be able to do that, and the kitchen gave them the opportunity to do it.
It was quite nice to have a sense of belonging, to feel comfortable.
And so, for 2 days every week, these women were able to cook and share their delicious recipes together. So, for 2 days every week,
You desired squirrel!
These women were able to cook and share their delicious recipes together.
We've called the kitchen the Hub Community Kitchen because in Arabic, hub means love, and we share love.
It's like one family now. We are sharing food, sharing happiness, sadness, everything.
I think food can bring back memories, and even the smell of food can bring back childhood comfort.
I immediately felt connected to this community kitchen. Like these women, I'm passionate about food and cooking as a way of strengthening communities.
She asked me, how many days do you offer this service? She asked me, how many days do you offer this service? And I said, 2 days a week.
You desired squirrel!
She asked me, how many days do you offer this service? And I said, 2 days a week. And her straight question was, why not 7 days a hero?
There's so much poverty in the UK these days.
Do you see any scenario by which Harry and Meghan overshadow Kate and William?
Yes, I do.
And her straight question was, why not 7 days a hero?
I do. I mean, this is immediately was my first thought. You know, this could be a problem.
And her straight question was, why not 7 days a hero? And I said, funding. So she goes, we can do a cookbook.
If you want to be private, go back to America and live privately. It's pretty straightforward.
I also know that you've come to know me well enough over all these years to trust that the woman I chose as my wife upholds the same values as I do. And she does. And she's the same woman I fell in love with.
There's so much poverty in the UK these days.
And her straight question was, why not 7 days a hero?
If you want to be private, go back to America and live privately. It's pretty straightforward.
We both do everything we can to fly the flag and carry out our roles for this country with pride. Once Megan and I were married, we were excited, we were hopeful, and we were here to serve.
And her straight question was, why not 7 days, Zahira?
For those reasons, it brings me great sadness that it has come to this. The decision that I have made for my wife and I to step back is not one I made lightly. It was so many months of talks after so many years of challenges.
Go back to America!
And I know I haven't always gotten it right, but as far as this goes, there really was no other option.
We're going to have about 10 million people in fuel poverty. We have a real, absolute, not relative poverty issue going to come in the UK.
Days when the cost of living crisis really started kicking off, I've just noticed I spend as much time taking food away from children.
I mean, I'm 65, I've worked all my life, and we can't afford £20 for a pair of shoes.
And her straight question was, why not 7 days, Zahira? And her straight question was, why not 7 days, Zahira? And I said, funding. So she goes, we can do a cookbook.
We sit together, we eat together, we enjoy the time together. Never mind where are you from, which color you are.
There's so much poverty in the UK these days that character that claimed to have rumble with Harry probably got only about $5,000 to embarrass herself. Recall Royal reporter accepted only £250 to lie about the Oprah interview.
We're going to be doing a post-match analysis of Harry and Meghan's interview with Oprah, which is obviously coming out in a few days' time.
My name is Victoria Arbiter, A-R, B as in boy, I-T-E-R, and I am royal commentator for CNN.
It said state of affair. Yep. Yep. Yep, they do. Damn, I see a small fly flying over. What is it? Simon Rex? They offer him, what is it, $70,000 to lie about Meghan. He didn't take it. That's somebody with principle and dignity. I will always respect him for that. And the thing is that with him, I'm gonna break my screen for that freaking fly. It's one of the, look like, oh shit, it was on my finger and I didn't see it. Like a fruit fly. It's probably coming from the kitchen. Okay. I'm fighting with my screen right now. It's going on the, it's going toward the light. Let me start. Okay, I don't want to leave smudges on my thing. I think I got it. Okay. All right, let me, oh shit. No, it's still flying around. What the fuck? Okay. I think this fly knows what I'm thinking because each time I move, okay, let me leave that alone before I break my computer. Okay, that's this.